I would suggest that your resume should just be around one page. I would say it won't be possible to pay up your second year fees or jobs in Saskatchewan specifically, and also Canada. Welcome to MALZ vlogs. Today I just stopped by a park which is very close to my house. So that's my house and this is the park. It's a beautiful one. I've just been here once. Other than that, I haven't visited this park a lot of times. I didn't want to sit near my house and do the video because you guys might be bored seeing that landscape. So I thought I'll come to a park and then do the video. So today we are going to talk about part-time jobs or jobs in Saskatchewan specifically, and also Canada. So a lot of people have messaged me in YouTube. You would have seen the comments. They're asking, will we get part-time jobs? What type of part-time jobs? Or how many hours can we work in part-time jobs? Are we allowed to work full-time between courses? So there were several questions. So I'm going to address most of it today. Let's see how much we can cover in this short video. I don't want to make it a long video like I always say, but then let's try. So the first question I'm going to answer is what are the type of jobs? Or before that, I think we can get to the question, how many hours can you actually work for a part-time in Canada or specifically Saskatchewan, because I don't know about other provinces. First of all, I would like to tell you the minimum rate. Okay, so minimum wage for a person per hour is $13 now for Saskatchewan. And part-time jobs, especially for students, is around 20 hours. So here in Canada, the regulation is that anything above 30 to 40 hours, that is between 30 to 40 hours, is considered as full-time jobs. And anything lesser than 30 hours is considered as part-time jobs. So if you're a student, most probably you'll be only able to work 20 hours because that's the current scenario in Saskatchewan. The reason why I'm going on looking that side is there are a bunch of kids sitting there and playing some games, so I'm just a little distracted. So anything about 20 hours is considered full-time, and there was a rule in between in Saskatchewan or in Canada wherein some intake, that's a specific intake of students, could work 40 hours. I don't know whether that is taken off or not, but that was there at one point of time. So other than that, whoever is coming here and who is planning to take up part-time jobs will work around 20 to 25 hours and not more than that. So I've also seen that most of the people, that is a new immigrant, whether you come as a student or whether you come as a PR holder or whatever the category be, you might start off with a part-time job. Because it is very, very essential in Canada to have Canadian experience. It doesn't matter how many years of experience you had in India or what kind of experience you had, it really doesn't matter. So when you come here, unless and until you are finding a job from there and coming, or there is an employer who's willing to give you a job in a specified field, most of the time, like 75% of the time, most of the people come here and take up part-time jobs. So most of them will take like 20 hours, 26 hours. Some might get less hours, some might get more hours, but around this range. And most of the students also do this. So that is the number of hours you can work. Okay, and next I will talk about what are the type of part-time jobs that you might get. So if you ask me, for students usually, okay, like this is just according to my knowledge, this is not, it might differ in your situation. You would have got an excellent job, but what I have seen till date, or I have not seen otherwise, when most of the people who take up part-time jobs, they will have jobs at a restaurant. They will have jobs at a restaurant, to be specific, can be like food chains like Tim Hortons, Burger King, KFC, McDonald's, any kind of food chain. So they need students or people to work part-time in their company. So most of them might opt for that. The second category of jobs can be, people are working in retail chains like Old Navy, J.Y.S.K, IKEA, or IKEA is not there in Saskatchewan. I'm just talking in general. Or like other food chains like retail chains like Walmart, Canadian Superstore, those kind of jobs. So mostly people will fall under these categories. There are also some people who will land up with office jobs, very rarely, wherein you can sit comfortably in an office and work. But mostly, okay, like I don't know how to put it in percentage, but you will have to take up one of these jobs wherein it is a little exhausting physically, because you will have to study and then you will have to go and work on these part-time jobs and things like that, right? But these are the kind of jobs that's available. So you might ask me, okay, what if I'm just working in Walmart as a cashier for like 6 months? Is that considered as Canadian experience? Yes, any experience is Canadian experience. So that's a plus point of Canada. They are not going to look at how many years of experience you had in India, or how many, what field did you work in India, and those kind of things. They are going to check if you have any particular Canadian experience and how many months of Canadian experience did you have, and things like that. So there are a lot of people who has worked in Walmart or Superstore or Tim Hortons who has now found good jobs and moved on. So whoever asks me, will I get a job? You will get a job. Definitely in Saskatchewan, you will get a job. It might be a little difficult initially to find a job, mainly because they might be looking for a person with good language, or they might be looking for a person who can actually, deal with customers. So you have to have these skills, obviously. But there are also people who does not have these skills, right? Their language is not good, or maybe they are not good with customer interaction. But these people will be offered other jobs, like back end kind of jobs, like stocking, or in the bakery section or things like that. I'm talking about like Walmart and Superstore. So there are several options. So don't be worried about whether you'll find a job or not. Everybody who comes here finds one or the other job. So it's not like a big deal finding a part-time job. Now coming to industry specific jobs, or things like you have like 13 years of experience in marketing, or you have like 12 years of experience in logistics, you have come from accounting field or IT field or something like that. Guys, please don't be specific initially about what kind of job you land up, mainly because I told you, right, they might consider, but they're really not going to consider whether you had this kind of experience back in India, and then they offer you. In Canada, they don't even ask your previous salary. That is, if you worked anywhere in Canada, they won't even ask your previous salary, because here everything is in brackets. It's not that I can talk from my personal experience. When my husband was looking out for a job, he worked initially in one retail chain, and when he shifted, they didn't even ask his previous salary. They just are looking at the post. So if you were an associate and you're shifting to a senior manager level, or a manager level, or store manager, then you have a bracket of salary. You will fall into that. So it's not that just because you got $14 here, you will get $16. And no, if the job or the post that is offered to you is for $18 or $20, you will get that. So that is the experience wise, like don't be too specific initially. Just pick up any job that comes your way. But then after you get into a job and you start getting some income, you are able to settle down a little bit in Canada, then look for jobs relevant to your field. So initially, even I when I came here to Canada, I didn't get any job in my relevant field. I was looking for marketing and things like that, but I didn't get it. But I got a job as a call center. Okay, so I had call center experience of call center. I was working in a call center as my first job, like back in 2005 or something. So I don't know whether they have actually looked at that experience, or they have just gone ahead with whatever test they had. So they had actually conducted a reading test, language test, a speaking test, so all these things, and I qualified, and then I got the call center job. So the time that I was actually studying in Canada, I was doing this work from home job. My journey was quite comfortable. I didn't have to take a job at a retail chain or a restaurant, but I know a lot of my friends who are managing both, and it's comfortable. It is physically straining, but it's not like where you can't handle. That's the main reason Canadian government has restricted it to 20 hours for students, mainly because they know you can't manage, because initially they could work longer, and what used to happen is people used to fail their exams and things like that. So that's the main reason that restriction had come in. Okay, and one more thing I wanted to tell is you can also like once you pass out and you're looking for SINP jobs, look out for companies which are offering these kind of SINP jobs. Again, that might not be relevant to your field. It can be from any field. Maybe a restaurant owner is providing you SINP, or maybe a retail chain like Loblaws is providing you SINP. So don't be too specific about what kind of job you get into. Your main purpose would have been here to come and get PR. I'm talking about students. So those people like get into a job that can get you a PR, and then you can deviate. But for those people who came here in PR and are looking for a job initially, you will have to pick up any job that is random retail, or things that might not match your portfolio, but eventually you will fall into track. So I have talked about the minimum wage. I've talked about part-time jobs, how to find these part-time jobs, or how to actually land up with a job. So I have mainly used Indeed and LinkedIn. Indeed is very, very popular here. Then there's also Canada Job Bank, where you can try applying. There's also saskjobs specifically for Saskatchewan. So these are the places you can apply for jobs. But personally, I felt that Indeed is very, very effective. Me, and as well as my husband, and I know a lot of people who got through Indeed. You can also, one of the advantage of Saskatchewan is that if it is a retail chain, you can walk in and give your resume, and there will be like a counter where they collect the resume. And if you qualify, you can give your hours. That is, you are available during the morning hours or evening hours, or you're there available for night shift. So they will actually make a note of all that, and they will call you if you are eligible. Okay, so that's how it works in Canada. So these are the ways you can find jobs. That is through, as I told you, it's Indeed or saskjobs for Saskatchewan. Then Canada Job Bank is there. Then you can have LinkedIn is also good. LinkedIn is good to actually connect with people, but I'm not very sure about finding jobs. You will find opportunities, but you can also go to websites directly, like in the sense, if it's Walmart or if it's Loblaw, go to their website and then apply directly. You will land up with a job, because even if you're going through Indeed, they will redirect you to the direct website of the company. So that is also a possibility. So I'm just recapping because it doesn't miss out from my mind also. So I've talked about minimum wage, about part-time jobs, full-time job. Full-time job is around 40 hours here legally. So 30 to 40 hours is considered as full-time jobs. What else is there? I've also talked, so I'll also tell you about how some of the interview skills that you need. Okay, then I've talked about how to find a job or where to find a job. Now I'm going to talk about what will the interviewer actually look at when they are going to hire you. So if they know you personally, they might just ask you personal some questions regarding your profile or your previous experience. But mostly I have seen, rather than asking technical questions or things like that, they will have a test, which might be online or it might be paper based or whatever, wherein they will ask you to do a test relevant to your job that you're applying. So they will have like a skills test. For me, when I applied for my call center job, I had to do a skills test for listening as well as typing, because I was doing a call center job. But for Prashant, both his retail jobs, it was like situational questions. So they had like a group discussion. They had like 4 to 5 people sitting together, and they were asking questions, and each person had to answer. And then eventually, you come to a conclusion. Then you were given situational questions of, what if the irate customer came to your store? How will you handle that person? Or what if a product is damaged, the customer bought it, and those kind of questions. So they want to see how you're going to handle those kind of situations. I don't know if this is the way that happens in every organization, but 2 of the jobs or 3 of the jobs that Prashant applied, this was the case. He had also attended a couple of interviews, and in all these interviews there's a skills test, then there's a round, there's a general round, then there's a skills test, then there'll be a round with your senior managers, then there will be like a final round. So at least 3 to 4 rounds will be there, and most probably they take around 2 to 3 weeks to revert back to you. But if the opening is urgent and they really require you to join immediately, you can join immediately. In Canada, the notice period is 2 weeks, unlike in India where it's like 3 months and all. It's just 2 weeks because most of the places the payment happens bi-weekly. Okay, so most of them work for an hourly rate. They very few people work for a salary here. Even if they work for a salary, like Prashant works for a salary, but he gets a bi-weekly salary. Wherein I work for an hourly rate, but I get a monthly salary. So it depends upon your organization, and most of the places it is like 2 weeks of notice, but some organization will demand more. So these are the basic things about job hunt, or how to land up with a job. About going for work, like most of the places you'll have like if it's a retail chain, you'll have uniforms, but otherwise you can be in smart casuals. It's not necessary. I'm not seen, unless and until you're in a very high profile or something, you can have like business casuals. I usually prefer like casuals or smart casuals to office, but it depends. I don't wear formals to office, mainly because it's not required in my office. Then other things that you need to take care is that don't fake things in your resume. It's okay to tweak it. So I would suggest that your resume should just be around 1 page. Okay, I know it's very difficult. With an experience of 13 years, I have no clue how I actually squeezed it to just 1 page, because it's quick for a person to glance through. The Canadian format is like that, they like it shorter. It's not like 3 to 4 pages how it was back home. So make it a very concise, or maximum of 2 pages, very very concise resume that you have. And if you're applying for a job, try to like personalize your resume to that particular job profile. Because suppose if it is a marketing job and they're looking specifically for like a retail marketing person, so try to see how you can make your resume match that portfolio, rather than sending a very general kind of a resume. The next thing that I wanted to tell you is that what did I want to tell you? Yeah, so when I recollect, I'll tell you. So tweaking the resume is one. So personalize it in such a way that the person feels that you're fit for the job. Another very important thing in Canada is that they don't look at your task, they look at the end result. So an example I'll give you. So suppose if you're in a sales job, they're not going to look at, okay, I met customers, or negotiating with customers. They're not going to look at that. They're going to look at statements like close like 20 million deal with so and so, made profit for the company of so and so, and so those kind of things. So even if you are in a HR job, or even if you are in a logistics, show the employer how much of money you saved for the company or you made for the company, which is more impressive than telling them this is the task you did. They don't care. You would have been good at the task, you would have been bad at the task, but show them, did you make them save the money, or whether you made them did you help them make the money, right? So these are few things. What else did I want to tell you? So like, don't get over stressed or tensed about finding a job. I know it is a different experience. The work culture is different. You might be talking to Canadians, which might be frightening. I used to find it very very nerve-wracking to actually speak to a Canadian or a person of a different nationality, because I used to be scared whether I will be able to understand their accent, or if they would understand my accent. But it's okay. They know that you're coming from India or Pakistan or Sri Lanka or Africa or wherever you're coming from, right? So they are not going to actually scrutinize you for your language. They will just check how good you will be at your work, or how good will you be able to communicate to the customer. So it's okay if you are not having a Canadian accent. It's okay. So don't like freak out. I know most of the people, or most of my subscribers who have come to Canada, have landed up with a job. So I don't think it's a big task. It is an easy thing. Just that just be patient. It might take a month, it might take 2 weeks, it might take 1 week, it might take 2 months, but have enough of backup until the time you get a job. So if you're coming from India, have some, like for students it's okay because you have a GIC account. But if you don't have a GIC account, you're coming here on a PR, have some stash of cash with you in your bank account so that you can survive during that period. One more important question that I wanted to answer is, many people ask me, I'm going to do like a 1-year course or a 2-year course, mainly a 1-year course, and I want to do a 2nd year course, but will I be able to pay my 2nd year fee with this part-time job money? Okay, my answer will be no, you cannot. Mainly because you have expenses here, rental is not cheap here, groceries are not cheap here, nothing is cheap here, right? So whatever amount you make, if you're doing like 20 hours, you might get maximum around $1,000 in hand. This is maximum. Okay, so what all will you do with that? Your rental might be like $500 or something, then you will have like food expenses, grocery expenses. So what balance will be there is around maybe like $200-300, which you will have to maybe send back to India or save it up or something. But at the same time, if during 2 courses, that is if you're doing course 1 and then you get a break of 4 months and you do course 2, if you have a break, you can work full time. During that time, you might be able to make the money. I know one of my friend who's done that. She worked during this time like for $20 or $27, like for SGI or something of that sort, and she was able to make that much of money to pay her second year fee. So it is possible if this is a scenario, but otherwise I would say no, it's not possible. It's really difficult, to survive in $1,000. But then I have done it. All of the students out here do it. I have also got into a situation wherein I was studying, my husband was here on visit visa, and $1,000 was all that we were getting. So I have seen that side also. So I would say it won't be possible to pay up your second year fees. If you have alternative jobs which pays you really high, might be able to. So I think that's it, guys. I'm having a very bad cold. The climate is changing here. Sorry. The climate is changing here, and it's really hot. It's like 34 degrees now. So that's the extreme it goes to, right? It goes to -40 and then -34. So it's like really warm and good, and that's the reason I'm sitting in the park. But at the same time, with the climate change, you will fall ill. So be very, very careful about it. So that's all, guys. I hope this video was useful for people who had questions, who might have questions, or who does not have any question. So that's all for now. If you like the video, share it with your friends, like and subscribe, or share it with people who might be coming to Canada, who has plans, who might be worried about these questions. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and help me grow the channel so that I can get more content to you. That's all for now.